Hello, ladies and gents, and everyone in between, and welcome to a short review of week 6 of 2018. Let me start off by saying I have a great problem in that there's so much queer shit happening on TV that I can't keep up with it all. I'm gonna talk about some of it. Some of it I don't know that much about because I am behind on shows or don't watch shows, and some of it I do watch. So let's start with something I do watch, and that is Black Lightning. We got some more Thunder Grace action. I feel like it's gonna maybe be a slow burn, which I'm here for. And I was excited because Grace actually said, like, voice, like it was a thing that she said she was bi, which I think is very exciting because I feel like a lot of times, you know, it's not explicitly voiced. It's just kind of implied, or like it just is a thing. So I think it's really good for bisexual representation that she explicitly said that she's bisexual. On a side note, Anissa, if she's gonna go around being a superhero, she needs to find herself a superhero suit. Okay? A hood's not gonna do it. Listen, if you want to hear more about that, you can watch my reaction to this week's Black Lightning below. Also, apparently, Petra on Jane the Virgin had like some sort of sexual awakening. I don't know much about that because I'm like a season and a half behind on Jane the Virgin, but I did see people talking about it on Twitter, and I found a video, and it is quite intriguing. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. One thing I've also noticed, and I think is really awesome, is that in a lot of things, queer characters are being played by queer actors. And I think that's huge, especially if the character is like gender nonconforming or trans. It's a huge deal that now these characters are being played by gender nonconforming and trans actors. One of these instances has been these new trans characters that I've talked about Grey's Anatomy having, and the show The Good Doctor, which is a really interesting show. I'm a couple episodes behind. Apparently this most recent episode had a trans character, and that is played by a trans actress, and it talks about, it deals with, so the main character in The Good Doctor, he is autistic, and so the show's about how he deals with the world, basically. And so this episode is about him, you know, trying to figure out what it means to be trans and understanding that genitals don't mean gender. But I've read that it's also a really good, pretty good representation of the process of transitioning and, you know, the experience that people have with their family and stuff like that. So I think it's really good that it sounds like creative teams, writers and stuff like that are doing good research. So I hope that they continue doing that research and that they include people from marginalized communities in their writers' rooms. And also, there's a show called Vida, which is going to be on Starz on May 6th. That looks like it's going to be really good. They just posted a preview for it. It's a show about two Latina sisters that go back home because their mom dies, and it looks like it's going to be really good for queer representation, and queer people of all over the spectrum of presentation of, you know, femme versus masculine. There are going to be some masculine of center queer women on this show, which that is a demographic that does not get very much representation, very good representation, and it's also going to be good, hopefully good representation for Latinx people in general. And so hopefully it's going to be great. It's on Stars, so if you aren't subscribed to Stars, it'll probably be kind of difficult to watch, but I'm sure you'll be able to find it somewhere. In queer Olympian news, last week I talked about some out Olympians that are going to be in this year's Olympics, and one of them was Gus Kenworthy, who is a gay U.S. slope-style skier, and he has been very outspoken. I feel like outspoken is the wrong word, but he's been very outspoken about being gay, being an Olympian, stuff like that. And he posted this awesome tweet with Adam Rapone at the opening ceremony. So I'm just really excited, you know, to have that open, proud representation. And also, the speed skater from the Netherlands, Irene Wust, won silver in one of the speed skating events. Congratulations to her. In more kind of super bummer news, there have been 2 more trans women of color killed this year. Tanya Harvey and Celine Walker. People suck. Specifically, trans women of color are a demographic that is just in huge danger for living their truth. And that's a scary thing to think about, and I can't even, you know, and it's so scary to think about and to know, and it's just horrible. But there is a gay club in London that has started this new thing where they are paying for taxi rides for trans women of color to be able to travel home more safely from their club, because, you know, they understand that those women are in extreme danger just, you know, trying to get home from the club. So, you know, good for them, and hopefully it will help these women, you know, just that little bit more in living their truth. And finally, something a little more happy. New study showed that more children, or teens I guess, are identifying as trans or gender non-conforming, which I think is huge and really awesome. And I personally think it's, you know, it just goes to show you how important representation in the media is for any marginalized community, right? Because these kids are seeing trans characters, they're seeing gender non-conforming characters, they're seeing stories about these people, and they're being like, hey, they're like me, you know, and so they're seeing that there are other people like them, that it can be okay to be who they are. Yeah, a lot of the representation is really shitty, and they're the butt of jokes, they're the evil people, they die all the time. But, you know, more and more now we're starting to get positive representation, happy endings, you know, stuff like that. And it's really great for these kids to feel comfortable enough and gain the knowledge to be able to come to terms with who they are. And also, I think it helps with other people. I've always said it's the less intimidating way for people who would not otherwise have an experience with those marginalized communities, someone from those marginalized communities. It's a way for them to see them represented and, you know a little bit more about them, and maybe become a little bit more educated. You know, hopefully as time goes on, we'll have more and more positive representation. So I'm glad that more young people are living their truth, finding their identities, and I am excited to see more people living their truest lives. And finally, in I'm Super Gay news, guess what? Still not over Julieta Neer Calvo. She just is amazing. Like I said, she's my inspiration to start learning more Spanish, to start living a healthier lifestyle, which I have been pretty good at. I'm currently very sore because I've been going to the gym a lot lately. And so in order to learn and practice more Spanish, I actually posted a video this weekend of a reaction video of Flo's Mean Crack videos in which I speak only in Spanish. And it got, I got a lot of positive feedback from people, from native Spanish speakers. And so I'm really excited for that. Entonces, para la gente que mirando este video y que fuiste suscrito después el video de reacción de Flo's Mean Crack, gracias y bienvenidos, y ya voy a publicar más videos en español. Yeah. So I'm excited for that, honestly. It was really terrifying, but, you know, it was awesome to have such great feedback and, you know, hear from so many awesome people from around the world. And again, if you are not a native Spanish, if you don't speak Spanish, you can still watch Flo's Mean's story with subtitles. Please go watch them. I need more people from the US and all over English-speaking countries to know about them. Yeah. So go out, make this year queer, live your best life, and spread love.